I think my AirPods died because the audio like cut out, but we were somewhere on this slide. I let them charge for like 10 minutes, but I'm really impatient because it is 12:30 a.m. It's way past my bedtime. I want to go to bed, but I don't want to like wait to finish this up. So I'm just gonna power through this and hopefully it's recording right now. I let them charge for a little bit, so we'll see. But yeah, we are somewhere around here. I'll just do this whole slide again. So, American Colonization Society worried about too many free blacks running around when slavery gets abolished because they're like not really like they want slavery to be over because of the effects that it's having on white people, but they don't want to be equal with African Americans. They just want, slavery to not exist, but they don't want to have to like deal with black people. Um, and so instead, they're just gonna put them back. Oh my God! They're just gonna put them back in Africa. And they made a Liberia colony. A couple African American families, and people went to Liberia to kind of like start over, start a new life. Um, and I think a good amount of people went, but yeah, they just wanted to like recolonize Africa because they didn't want to have to, you know, they didn't want to make a society with black people. Like, oh no, no. And yeah, that's what the colonization society did. Western expansion. This is the last one. So, James K. Polk. James K. I'm gonna take all your land, Polk, as my teacher said. He wanted land. I'm gonna take a drink of water real quick. Okay. Uh, I think that's why I'm out of breath. I'm just like not drinking enough water. So yeah, he was president from 1844 5 to 1849. He won the 44 election, so he was pro-annexationist. He wanted to get as much land as possible, which I already said. Because he won the election, the Congress took that as a sign that the American people wanted annexation. So they were like, okay, sure, and Congress authorized the annexation of Texas in 45, right after he took office. So he fought for the acquisition of Texas and Oregon up to that top line right there. So you see there are three lines. He wanted that top line. He wanted to get that, and he coined the phrase 5440 or fight slogan, which actually is probably a pretty major part of why he got elected because he was not definitely not favored to get elected, but people just really liked his catchy little trademark, and they were like, yeah, no, honestly, I mean, if you have a good trademark, you're going to be a good president. That was their logic. I'm kidding. There's probably some other reason, but that was at least a part of it. So yeah, he started the Mexican War, which I mean he says that he didn't start it, but he literally did. That's a whole story, but whatever. So basically he went into this very large spot that was disputed territory between Texas and the U.S. And he just kind of like stood there, but brought a bunch of troops, and Mexico was like, "Whoa, what the fuck? Um, whoa, you've got." Like, what are you trying to do, buddy? And so they had a little border skirmish, and 16 American soldiers died. And then this little dummy, he goes back to Congress. He's like, "Oh my God, we like Mexicans like attacked us. The American blood was spilled on American soil. Bitch, it wasn't American soil. And it was not them that I mean, sure, yeah, but like you're the one that brought a whole militia to the border and just like threateningly. Anyways. He yeah, started the Mexican War, but he says he didn't. And then because they actually said Mexico started the war, but then why would they pay Mexico $15 million when Mexico lost the war? And if they're supposedly the people that started it and they lost, then why do they deserve any money? So they're kind of like by paying them the $15 million to get the land, they're kind of admitting to the fact that they are what's the word? They're kind of admitting to the fact that they um, started the war and they're also the aggressors in this situation. Oh yeah, Wilmot Proviso. He was There's a guy, David Wilmot, he was of Pennsylvania, who in 1846, he was like, what if, because basically the entire North was convinced that this whole thing was about slavery, and it was about slavery, and he was just like, well, let's test this theory. Um, so he made a Wilmot Proviso that would have, well, if it had passed, it would have prevented slavery in the acquired territory from the Mexican American War. But this was defeated in Congress, and people were saying they were saying it's like, oh, it's because this land was fought for with federal money, like, so it belongs to the whole United States, so Southerners should be allowed to bring their slaves to it. That was what they said, anyways. So the election of '48, um, there were the Democrats. They were just like kind of playing a cop out move. They were like, we just whatever, like, let the people who let the people who live there decide if they want slavery. Like, that's not our decision to do. This guy was Lewis Cass. He was a little bit of a war, like, hungry man. Then the Whigs were like literally had no campaign. They were just like trying to play off people's patriotism, and we're like, we have a war hero. Whoa, vote. That's what I meant, for the war hero. We have a war hero, General Zachary Taylor. And then the Free Soil Party slash Liberty Party, the Liberty Party disbanded in this year, and then the Free Soil Party was created in this year. So, um, the Liberty Party dropped out of the final election, but the Free Soil Party, they elected, or didn't elect, they what is it, appointed? They nominated, yeah, nominated Martin Van Buren, which my teacher said was like ironic. I don't know why, but it was ironic. I guess Martin Van Buren's kind of weird, but yeah, they wanted to end slavery. So Democrats wanted to, well, they wanted to keep slavery, but they didn't want to say that they wanted to keep slavery. Whigs were just like not knowing what they were doing, apparently, but they wanted to end slavery. And then these guys both wanted to end slavery. And then here's what happened. So Lewis Cass, this was um that was the guy's vote. What was it? The Democrats. The Democrats had nominated Lewis Cass. Then we had Martin Van Buren, with like 10%. So he wasn't very popular. Then we had Zachary Taylor, the war hero. Did we mention he's a war hero? And Taylor, and yeah. And then apparently 1.1% of people voted for somebody else. I don't know who that was. Oh, and then here's just like um some extra vocab words that I couldn't figure out where to squish them in another part of the slides. So I'm just gonna kind of put them here because anyways, so we have Commodore Matthew Perry. He is just some dude that went to Japan, like, and decided to force them to trade with the U.S. This was after they had the Treaty of Wanghia, which was um, just a like trade agreement with China, which they liked. So I guess they wanted to get one with Japan as well, and that's what he was there for. So yeah, Treaty of Wanghia, 1844. It was a favorable trade agreement with China. Then we have John L. O'Sullivan. We have two Johns, actually. John L. O'Sullivan, he basically just said manifest destiny is our God-given right. He was a Southerner, pro-slavery, whatever, pro annexationist, and I think oh, I dropped it. He was a writer, I think, like an author. Then we have John Tyler. I have no idea why he's on our list because it looks like he really didn't do that much. He was the 10th vice president of the US, and then his president, who he was vice presidenting for, died, and he became president. And then that was like very early on. Like Harrison like died like really early on, so he served like basically a full term. Um, and he was a Whig, and he was oh wait, no, because he was pro states' rights, so basically pro slavery, but he was also a Whig, so I don't know. I guess the Republican Party didn't. I don't know. But yeah, all right, that's everything. I got all the things. It is now 12:45 p.m. a.m. midnight, and I am going to go to bed now. And yeah, I think I got everything, so we're all done. Okay, how do I